Hello again, friends. My name is Zayna and I am back at the greenhouse to share another nutrition mission with you. Our herbs are doing great, and if you remember last week, we made a recipe called pico de gallo with our fresh herb cilantro. Ugh, my mouth is watering just thinking about it. But this week, we're growing basil, which means I get to share a brand new recipe with you. This dish is from Italy, and it's called bruschetta. You may have heard of it before, pronounced as bruschetta, but it's actually bruschetta. And I know, all of my recipes have these funny names, but they come from all different kinds of countries, which is so cool. Now you can think of bruschetta as being a mini deconstructed pizza. It's grilled bread with tomatoes, olive oil, salt and pepper, and of course, basil. And if you remember in my first video, I talked about foods having all these vitamins and nutrients, and basil is a great example of that. Basil has vitamin A, B, C, and K. Now vitamin K may not ring a bell, but it's just as important for building strong bones, just like calcium and vitamin D. Now I know my friend Jordan, the greenhouse garden expert, is going to have some fun facts about basil for you, so let's go check it out.
Hi everyone, remember me? I'm Jordan, the greenhouse garden expert, and today we're talking about basil. Now normally fruits and vegetables like cucumbers or apples like to be kept in the fridge, but basil hates the cold. It likes to be kept in a glass of water on your windowsill, just like some fresh cut flowers. There are also a lot of different kinds of basil out there, and some of them have kind of weird names, like lemon, cinnamon, or licorice basil. In our greenhouse though, we just plant traditional basil, and today I'm going to show you how you would plant your own basil. So first you want to get your little pot, but make sure there's holes in the bottom so the water can come through. So, and we have a lot of just started basil here for us, and some of them are just about ready to be planted into a new plot. So I'm just going to grab one of these little plants, and you can see that this one is starting to get its true leaves. See how those almost look like little basil leaves? We're going to take our little plant and set it aside. Now we're going to fill the pot up, just like we did with the dill plant, up 3/4 full. Now this is just regular potting soil that you can get from any garden store, or sometimes it's even at the grocery store. See, I have it 3/4 full here, and I'm going to take my little basil plant and just kind of set it in there. I'm then going to surround it with some more potting soil. Make sure it's upright and push it down so it can sit in there really nicely, just like that. Then make sure to add water. We have a handy hose, but you might need a watering pot. Sometimes it might fall down, but that's okay. It'll always come back up. And remember, we're in the greenhouse, so we can kind of keep it out on the bench like this, but you want to make sure to put it in a nice sunny spot. And also remember to water it every other day. Thanks, see you next time.
Thanks, Jordan. I guess basil is just like me because I don't like the cold either. I'm so thankful I get to be in this warm greenhouse all day. Now that we've got our basil, let's get to making bruschetta. Now before we start, remember to ask your adults' permission to use any kitchen utensils such as peelers, scissors, or knives. We want to be safe in the kitchen. And also remember to wash your hands before we start and wash the area that you're cooking in, because we want to be clean too. And for the first ingredient is French bread. Now I've already cut some off and toasted it, but what you would want to do is slice it very thin and then just toast it, and that's it. And that'll be the base of our bruschetta. But what we're going to be making today is the stuff that goes on top of the bruschetta. So the first thing that we'll need is Roma tomatoes, just like last time. They're a little less juicy than the big ones that you see in the supermarket. They're full of vitamin A and vitamin C, and vitamin A actually helps us maintain our eyesight. So let's go to slice it. I'm going to cut off the ends. Flip it up so that it's flat on the cutting board, slice it through, and just slice into strips. And then once it's sliced into strips, we're going to turn it then dice it. Boom, just like that. So I'll do that for the rest of the tomatoes and I'll see you in a second. All right, so we added everything to the bowl and I'm just gonna clean up and then we'll be right back. All right, so our next ingredient is extra virgin olive oil, which is full of antioxidants and unsaturated fats. Now, both of these help fight inflammation. What is inflammation? Inflammation is when something on our body or in our body gets irritated. It might get like red and swell up and kind of have a burning sensation. So this will help fight that. So we'll need 1/4 of a cup of olive oil. It's important to get to eye level so that you can see where it is. Just like that. Perfect. Into our bowl. All right, next we are going to put in Parmesan cheese, which actually comes from an area in Italy called Parma. Get it? Parmesan. I need 1/4 of a cup of this as well. There we go. Perfect. And then my favorite, garlic. Now I know I measure this with my heart, but you only need a teaspoon, but I'm going to use 3 cloves. And then we just add that in. All right, then you would want to add 1 teaspoon of salt, and then grind some fresh black pepper. This would be about 1 teaspoon if you're measuring it out of a canister. And then we just mix it. And don't worry, I didn't forget. We still have to add our fresh basil. Now this is done for this mixture, but the basil is gonna go right on top. Now this is gonna be different than our other herbs. Our other herbs, we were just kind of fine, like roughly chopping, but these ones, I've got a little trick for you. So right now I'm just peeling off the actual leaves because we don't need the stems. Next, I'm gonna take the leaves and I'm gonna find the biggest one. This looks like it's the biggest one. I'm gonna lay it flat in my hand and then find the next biggest leaf and put it right on top. And I'm just gonna keep doing that until I get to the smallest leaf left. So now you have a stack. Next, you're gonna take your thumbs and roll it up, kind of like Play-Doh. Now that it's all rolled, I'll chop off this little bit end because this is just the stems. But then you'll just slice it very thin, just like that, all the way through. Remember to use a claw technique. Perfect. Okay. And then when you see it, when you unravel it, it's just like these little ribbons. Just like that. We'll take all these little tiny ribbons and just sprinkle it on top of the bruschetta. Once we put the bread, this mixture that we just made with the tomatoes, and just sprinkle this on top, just like a little party, a little confetti. All right, I'm gonna set up a plate. Let's go find a comfy spot and try it out. All right, here we go. It's kind of a big bite. I'm gonna try and bite it in half. Wow. The crunch of the bread balances out this soft tomato mixture, and the basil has like this sweet and refreshing flavor. It's absolutely delicious and so easy to make. It only took us a couple of minutes. All right, before I devour this, let's go over today's nutrition mission main points. Bruschetta, commonly mispronounced as bruschetta, is a dish from Italy that resembles deconstructed pizza. Basil is packed with vitamins like vitamin K, which helps build strong bones like vitamin D and calcium. Basil doesn't like the cold, just like me, and likes to be in a glass full of water, just like fresh cut flowers. Unsaturated fats are the good fats that help fight inflammation and keep us healthy. Now that's it for today's nutrition mission, where we stay healthy one bite at a time. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
We would like to acknowledge that Grow Gardens occupy the traditional, ancestral, and contemporary lands of Indigenous people. The Ho-Chunk Nation has been on these lands for over 3 ice ages. The Dakota to the west of the Mississippi have resided for countless generations. Please join us to honor that heritage and the sacred lands of all Indigenous people. This acknowledgement is an opportunity to increase awareness of the historical and present spiritual and personal significance of this land to its original stewards.